Well, welcome back to another edition of the Mayor's Hour. We are in one of my favorite places, Jack. And as the parent of two small children, this zoo is a great place to bring kids.
And I've got a not-so-small 6'2" child
Who still loves
that
coming.
I have brought here many times over his 21 years because this is the 25th anniversary of Lowry Park Zoo.
It is, and this has been recognized by Parenting Magazine as one of the finest, the finest zoo in America. It is such a jewel for Tampa. And Jack, you and I remember what it used to be like.
Oh, yeah. We were talking earlier about it. Some of the people here were talking earlier about the fact that it was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
There was an old train out here. They had all of these weird figures and just, I mean, it really was an embarrassment. And it was known as that around the country, unfortunately.
It was. I think the most famous resident of the zoo was the monkey that used to smoke cigarettes.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah. And that kind of typified
and then he would just like flick
the
him
old
at the visitors.
zoo.
Yes, in a cage. There was a monkey smoking a Marlboro and then flicking it at it.
Oh, brother.
As you can see, we have come a long way from those.
We have. And as you say, Parenting Magazine said #1 zoo in America. It is I just found out, the most attended zoo in the entire Southeast. Atlanta, Miami, nobody comes close to Lowry Park Zoo.
And it's ours. It's Tampa Zoo.
And I learned it today because in spite of the fact of being here at the zoo, I had to park over in Pinellas County.
That's a good thing. That's revenue.
Way back.
Revenue, Jack. We want those turnstiles.
It is. It is packed today. And kids are here. Yeah. School kids, of course, come out here. And it's just such a treasure for the Tampa Bay area.
Well, we're going to be right back. We're going to take you on a tour of the zoo. We're going to get to see some of the animals and the birds and the habitat. Craig Pugh, the CEO of this great zoo, is going to be with us in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Another hug.
All right. Oh, don't knock me over. Don't knock me over.
Those hugs are so good. Those hugs are so good. Jack, we're back with the guy who actually makes everything run around here. He's been a part of the zoo for a long time. Stepped in as the CEO, how many years ago, Craig?
2009.
2009, after a long career here in another capacity, I guess Director of Development. Is that what
That's
you were?
correct.
Craig Pugh has really taken the zoo to the next level, and we're excited about it. We're excited to have you here, Craig. This is your baby. I know how passionate you are about it. Tell us a little bit about how it started and where it's going.
Well, I think for many who've been in Tampa a long time, and Mayor, you and Jack certainly know the long history the zoo has had. We started really as a small zoo, small collection of animals, where the University of Tampa is right now, just across the Hillsborough River from downtown. And then in the 1950s, there was a push to provide more space for those animals, and this Lowry Park was created, a 100-acre park that in the 1950s included the zoo, a public park, and also Fairyland with its concrete rainbow bridge that so many children have had a chance to play on. And it was Mayor Nick Nuccio who led that charge then to help create what would be a zoo and a park, and the park was named for General Sumter Loper Lowry. And it was for that name that Lowry Park and Lowry Park Zoo were named. We now say Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo because a lot of people up north don't know where the town of Lowry is. We want them to know they're going to find this magnificent zoo right here in Tampa. Then in the 1980s, we recognized a need to double the size of the zoo from growing needs in the community, and also so we could showcase, in addition to the animals of Australia, Central South America, and Florida, and Asia, the animals of Africa. And what African animals need certainly is space. And we were able to airlift 4 elephants that otherwise would have been culled or killed in Swaziland here to Tampa, and another 7 to San Diego Zoo in a very close partnership. And in fact, later today, you'll see a baby elephant born earlier this year to mom and dad who made that trip from Swaziland.
Wow.
That
Wow.
is amazing. And I was talking with Craig a little bit earlier, going over some of the history, because I was sort of involved in it in the early days, because the Kew Morning Zoo at the time took up the cause of trying to help build Lowry Park Zoo into something really special back from '86 to '88 when I was over there, the radio show. And we had a cookbook and did all sorts of things out here, concerts and just about everything you could imagine. And at that time, trying to make that transformation from an embarrassment to, well, what it is. I don't think we ever suspected it would be what it is today.
It really is a gem in our community. We have so many cultural facilities here in Tampa that make it a great place for tourists to come and those of us who live here year-round. In fact, here at Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo, we have the most comprehensive collection of Florida's endangered species. Wow. And one of the signature programs is represented by the fountain behind us, that manatee fountain. This month, we're treating the 300th manatee patient that's come to the only nonprofit manatee hospital anywhere. The David A. Straz Jr. Manatee Hospital has, since 1991, treated more than 300 manatees for some of the most serious injuries, red tide poisoning, cold stress, even boat strikes. And we've just had a terrific success rate to protect a big percentage of Florida's endangered species. And you'll see other animals of Florida, Asia, Australia, Central South America, and expansive exhibits that represent Africa too.
Craig, how are you funded?
Unlike many zoos our size that receive more than half their budget from a local municipality, Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo receives 80% of its support from revenue we earn, from gate, from membership, from sales of food and gift. We've got to be run like a solid business, and we've never wanted to over-rely on government. So less than 3% of our operating budget comes from the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County. And for every dollar we raise, every $3 we raise, we go earn or get contributions that total another $97. That's a good return on investment of public funds.
Oh, it is. And you all have some of the greatest events of the year. I know, what is it, Karamazoo, the...
Karamu. Absolutely, in
Karamu,
April.
and then the beer drinking thing.
Yeah.
You bet.
That one.
The beer drinking thing.
It's truly, Lowry Park Zoo is a terrific place for families with young children, but it's fun for adults too.
Well, and
throughout the year.
Safari is an incredible event. That's my favorite.
You've named the big ones. We've got Karamu, our black tie gala, in April of each year. We have Wazoo, have a brew and help the zoo, with a beer tasting and adult beverage tasting in August. Then we have a restaurant festival in November that brings together dozens of the best restaurants of Tampa Bay, and lots of folks who know the zoo is a great place to party, to have a wedding, to have a catered event, to have a business function. And then in the autumn season, we have a Halloween-themed series of evenings called Zubu, and also Wild Wonderland that takes us through the holidays of December. And each of those attracts more than 30,000 people each year, whose contributions those nights help keep the zoo affordable for everyone, and also support some exceptional education programs.
Well, Craig, we're gonna go take a look at your zoo. I think we're going to feed some birds.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
And I'm excited. I mean, I do. I love this place. It's such an asset for this community. We're proud of what you've done. Stay with us. We're going to go talk to some birds, and we'll be right back. Jack, we are in the cage with the man-eating birds. That's why we have to have a shot of whatever this is. These are exotic species from Australia. They've been known to eat politicians in a single bite. And now, actually, we're here in the aviary. We're going to feed some of the birds. And we've got Steven with us, who's like the bird feeding expert. He reminds me of some of the tourists on Clearwater Beach when they start feeding the seagulls. But we're going to feed some really, really cool birds. So Steven, tell us what we need to do.
All right, you just hold it like an ice cream cone.
And this is, what is it again?
It is nectar.
Nectar.
Yes.
What kind of nectar, do you know?
It's we get it from
100 proof.
overseas.
It smells good.
I'm going to
whatever
start
it is.
calling my cocktails nectar.
Mainly bee pollen, vitamins, minerals, everything they need.
So it's good for 'em.
Yes, this is their main diet. This is what they eat all day.
All right. All right, so we got to hold it up?
Yep. There's one over here on this branch.
All right.
Sometimes you might have to
Here,
walk
you go
up to him.
first, Mayor, in case he attacks.
Come here, guys.
There's one right over here.
Yep.
There's one of these guys.
Once they
You
see
got
it,
some
they,
fruit.
He's working on something.
Come on.
you want to
Oh,
give them a platform, kind of.
yep. Come here. Climb
like
on my
that.
arm. No, no, don't.
Oh, he
eat
was.
that. Here we go.
Oh, he is into it.
Look at
He
this.
is, here comes another one down. Looks like he might be ready. Come on, fella.
Yeah, what do you think of all the
Here you
paparazzi?
go.
Huh?
Come on over here.
You're a pretty nice
Oh,
looking
man,
fella.
that is cool.
Yep.
This is cool.
What do you think, huh? It's a beautiful bird.
That is the greatest feeling in the world. Look at this. Got two of them on here now. Well, one's leaving.
Yeah, this is our dominant
Here we
bird.
go.
This is, and look at the orange colors on this one. Dark, deep green, and oh, and a blue one. Uh-oh. We got a
Yep.
fight going on here. Come on, guys. There's plenty to go around.
Don't land on my head, bird.
Be nice. Oh, be nice. You can come up here.
Jack, how many you got? I got 3.
I had 2, but one ran the other one off. This orange one, I guess, is a dominant or something. Orange being a dominant color. Or
Pretty
maybe
cool.
not.
Our dusky Lowry.
A dusky Lowry?
Yes.
I got a dusky Lowry. I thought a Lowry was a truck.
Yeah.
There we go.
We have lorikeets and Lowrys.
No, don't eat my watch,
These,
all right?
Our Lowry.
Ah,
All right.
this one is a Lowry, I just learned.
Nope, you can't eat my watch. It's off limits.
That is amazing how they love this stuff. The one poor bird is left out over here, though.
Oh, he's sneaking up over here. Come on.
Yeah, but you don't have anything for him, do you? Whoops. He's trying to blend in. He's trying to hide out on my green shirt. Well, this one's a big eater down here on the end.
All right.
Oh, and he's eating my shirt. Don't wear a green shirt in here.
Oh, yeah? You sound like city council.
Oh, look at this. Oh, brother.
I hope you got that one.
Uh-oh. This one's
That will
screaming
be
in my
the
ear.
weekly view picture.
Whoop. Yeah, come
Very
on
cool.
down. Well, they can get loud in your ear. I think he's eating my hair.
Come here, sweetie. Come here.
I mean, I washed
Come here.
my hair last night, but I don't know if you want to eat it.
Every once in a while, they like to preen.
Look.
This,
Pretty bird. Pretty bird, huh?
Say hi, bird.
Say hi.
Hello.
Look, the bird's all over me.
The bird's what's the bird eating?
Huh?
Wow.
Look at him. Isn't he pretty?
So
Pretty.
Can you say thank you to the mayor?
They preen you just like they do
See?
themselves.
He's looking at you. He's saying, who's that pretty little girl? What's your name? What's your name?
Lila Rose.
Lila Rose. That's a beautiful name. He's eating. Do you eat lunch? Do you eat your lunch? Are you ticklish? Are you ticklish? You're not?
Thank you.
Aw.
you got to have one comb your hair like this one is mine. It's incredible.
All right. There you go, Steven.
Whoops, this one's unloading here. I got
Yeah.
to back up a little bit.
Fine.
It's going to be something when you go home and undress tonight and you find out one that is kind of...
That's right. I'll be having my nectar.
I think we're about
Too
out,
cool.
guys.
All right,
Close to
let's
out.
go, Jack. Let's take them home. We're going to cook them tonight.
Somebody tell this one it's over.
It's over.
The ride is over.
Here we are at the David A. Straz Manatee Hospital at Lowry Park Zoo. We have a manatee that's being treated. The manatee had line wrapped around its body and its pectoral fins, and potentially could have died had it not been for the men and women that you see here today.
And one of the pectoral fins, I think, was taken off.
Yeah.
It lost that pectoral fin.
Yeah, this is Gator, and she came from Gator's Hole in Crystal River. Yeah. So she was near a spring, but she had a whole crab trap, the whole apparatus and line and everything wrapped around her. And you can see a line across her back. The rope went straight across her back around both pecs. So she lost one, but she still has the other. And you know, it's a dangerous thing too if she's out there and she has that on her. She won't be able to eat properly, and then that can become infected too at some point.
Well, Virginia, tell us about the hospital. Tell us about what you do every day. I mean, it really is heroic work. I mean, you are saving a species.
Yeah, I will say we feel very privileged to be a part of what we're doing here at the zoo, and we hear that from folks every day who come by the zoo. And you can see it's not easy work either. No,
not at all. How much does that animal weigh approximately?
She only weighs about probably at this point 500 pounds.
Oh,
so we have some that are 1,000 that behave the same way.
Oh my heavens, 1,000 pounds, one that's twice as large as that one. That is incredible. I think we better all move back a little bit here.
Do all politicians have this effect on the manatees, or is it just me? I'm beginning to feel like
no, it's not just you. It is all politicians. Yeah.
Now, you know, a lot of people know the story of the of Winter the dolphin and everything, and they got an artificial tail and so forth. Are you able to do something like with this one, like that, or will they just have to learn to adapt to only having one?
Right, she will adapt, and we've released other animals before with just one flipper, and they because she's going to go back to the wild, something artificial probably wouldn't work. And they use their flippers for movement somewhat, and sometimes to grab food, but overall they have a prehensile lip, so they can reach up and grab food with that, and their tails are really strong, so for propelling themselves they use that a lot for motion. So she can get away with not having that peck. And it's sort of unfortunate to say that. You wish it would never happen. I wish she had both her flippers, but fortunately, manatees can get away with that, and we're able to release her.
So tell us, how many of these animals have you guys treated over the years?
We've had just over 300.
300 manatees?
Come through the zoo.
And how many manatees do they say are living in the wild now? You've treated like 10% of the manatee population.
At this point, with aerial surveys and the work that they go out and do, usually in the winter time when manatees are congregating at warm water sites, they get a good vision of that. And so the last count, there were about 3,500, 4,000 manatees out there.
And they have, thanks in part to what you all do, I think, they have now been, I think, removed from the endangered species list down to the next level.
Yeah, you know, most folks think being removed from the endangered species list is the worst thing in the world to do for animals. I think it says something about us. It says something about what we can do for animals, and that if we're doing something better and we help them out, I think that's a great thing. So we should always be proud if we can get to that point.
We're going to keep manatees flourishing because they are such an important part of our environment.
It says people care.
And do you tag these animals when you release them?
It depends on the manatee. She will not be tagged, but if they're a naive animal, which say a 60-pound orphan calf comes in and has no wild experience, then yeah, that's a manatee we'll tag when they go out. And we've had some exciting news recently about some of our releases that we've done. We had a lot of spottings this winter, and one in particular was a manatee we released that was 18 years old when he went out, and he's been out there 9 years now, and they saw him again coming back to the warm water site.
What are they doing to this one now? Do you all name him, by the way?
Yeah, this is Gator.
Gator?
Yeah, she came from Gator's Hole. So we named them after the area that they come from. And it just helps us because we get so many manatees through the zoo. Helps us remember why they came in and where they came from.
So what is he doing?
He's doing ultrasound. That's Dr. Ball, our veterinarian, and he's doing ultrasound on her, and it's for body fat measurements. So that we can compare.
I don't want him to put that on me.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to worry about it yet.
Oh, I don't know.
Pretty trim. Well, they obviously are mammals, obviously, being outside the water like this for as long as he's been outside the water now that we've been watching here. But again, how big is the area here, the Straz Center, in which you're treating these animals?
What we consider our hospital pools are three different medical pools, and each of them has about 18,000 gallons of water. At any different time, we can hold up to 6 patients in a particular pool. And then in our main pools, we have just about 225,000 gallons total. And that's usually, those are the display pools. That's where if you come to the zoo and you see manatees in there, generally they're done with treatment and we're just trying to get weight on them. They're at the next phase of their rehabilitation
Before they
process.
go out into the wild.
Right.
So the manatees that come here certainly aren't residents of Lowry Park Zoo. They're just
Right.
passing through.
Yeah.
It's
They're
like going to the
patients,
hospital.
yeah.
They're patients. They're here for a while, then they're back into the wild, which is really great because you got a zoo attraction, but at the same time, you're doing such a marvelous thing for Mother Nature, for these manatees.
Yeah, we, like I said, feel very privileged to be a part of this and be able to do this and help manatees. And we get that kind of feedback from people who come to visit the zoo, and it's really rewarding.
That's great.
Aside from the huge weight, and you've got these young ladies down here trying to control them, and now they've got them sedated a little bit, I think. But aside from the huge weight, are they any danger to humans at all?
No, out in the wild, they're not. Even a mom with her calf is protective and may come in between someone. They have they can be large, and if you get on if you were to want to climb on them,
Well,
which
we had
is
a
a
story
mistake.
too long ago. What was it, about
Yeah.
3 or 4
Yeah.
months ago? Some
Yeah.
tourists down here, not knowing any better,
Right.
got out there and tried to ride a manatee, and
Yeah.
of course got
That
in
didn't end
trouble.
well for her.
No,
Yeah.
certainly did
But
not. And
it is illegal. That's harassment,
Yeah.
and it's illegal
Yes.
to do that. But they are strong, and if they don't want you messing with them, they have a really powerful tail.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been out fishing, and one will all of a sudden come up and breathe, and it scares the bejesus out of you. Because all of a sudden you hear this exhaling of air, and it's like, you're out there by yourself fishing, and all of a sudden
And we heard that exhaling
Yeah,
here
yeah.
earlier, and it is
Yeah.
very loud. It's almost like a freight train or something. And you can imagine with the natives around here. I mean, hundreds of years ago when they used to see these things, because they look almost prehistoric. I mean, they aren't developed so much like other fish, and they just have that prehistoric look, as cute as they are.
Yeah.
But and this one is getting rolled over here. Boy,
Yeah,
that's
what-
horrible, the way that thing cut into his neck like that.
Yeah. What we're doing today with her is she's getting ready to be released. So she's ready to go. So all these are health assessments on her. So we do want to get body fat to make sure she's got enough layers on her. Once they go back out, there's a slight adjustment. So we think they'll lose a little bit of weight. They're going to take some measurements, so a length on her, and they marked her body for her girth. So we'll do like right around her belly button, do a girth measurement, measure her peduncle. And this is actually pretty tame manatee movement. She's doing a little roll and slide, is what we call it.
Well,
so she's just migrating across the floor. Eventually, we'll probably just have to lower her and push her back to the center.
We know that dolphins are very, very smart animals, and again, they too are mammals.
You ready to do that?
Uh-oh, something big's coming up. Do we need to get out of the way?
Take her back. Take her back to the center.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't want to be where she starts thrashing over here. We know how smart dolphins are, and again, mammals like these things are, so I guess they are distant cousins. But are the manatees smart like the dolphins are?
Most animals, are intelligent for what they need to do in life. And manatees are probably a little smarter than people think. I think most people think they just go around and eat seagrass and that's about it. But here, they definitely understand our system back here, understand doors, understand where each pool goes, and they figure those things out. They figure out how to lift the doors if they don't want to be...
Kind of like my dog.
Yeah.
And they are vegetarians, right?
Right.
Because there's also down at the Bishop Planetarium in Bradenton, and they've got what they call Snooty the dolphin, who's a very
Right.
popular dolphin. I don't know why he hadn't been released, but he's a very popular one down there. And
Oh, his tail is
people
caught.
get a chance to see him. Yeah, he got his tail down between those boards in there.
So what, do they have bones?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So there's a skeletal...
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much just like us. If you took a X-ray of their flipper, you see finger bones and everything. So they're have a spine, have rib cage.
Wow.
Yep.
Let me point out our situation here now. We're on a platform that actually goes down into the water. This was raised so the manatee could be worked on by the people in here. And then after it's all over, I get, boy, his tail is all beat up too.
That's from her moving around. And underneath there was from cold. So the very tip of her tail was cold stress related.
So that's what happens when they get cold stress?
Right, it's like frostbiting people, so the skin on their face, their flippers, all their extremities, the things that are very sensitive and don't have a lot of blood flow, will that skin will die sometimes, and they'll get, you can see her tail is kind of ridgy on the end, some of that skin will slough off.
Yeah, because we hear from, I guess, ichthyologists or somebody, although they deal with fish, not mammals, but when we have these big cold snaps, they say it's going to be tough on the manatees. And of course, there's a place out in Big Bend in Hillsborough County next to the power plant where they discharge warm water, and they've got a viewing area for manatees there. And I've been out there before on a cold day. If you go out there on a cold day, you'll find those things just herding into there to take advantage of that warm water so they can avoid that kind of stress.
Yeah.
Virginia, we got about a minute left in this segment.
Okay.
What would you want people to know, particularly boaters, about manatees and how to be a courteous boater? Because those props kill manatees.
Yeah, they do, and most manatees die from boat injuries, that's for sure. But I always think it's just compromise. I wouldn't ask anyone not to go out on the water and use their boat. I think it's fair, but just share the water with the manatees, be safe, follow those no-wake zones that are out there, because they're designed to be there because they know manatees are in those areas. And it also helps people too.
Good.
Yeah, we know of these manatee areas.
This has been an amazing experience. That manatee is now registered to vote.
But do you know which way he's going to
vote?
vote?
Doesn't matter. But it's been such a privilege to be here with these amazing professionals, medical professionals, veterinary professionals.
And by the way, that platform we were on is now being lowered back down, so the manatee will be back in the water, and he's chowing down on a little lettuce over there.
So just remember that this facility at Lowry Park Zoo, Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo, has treated over 10% of the entire manatee population, which is an endangered species. That manatee will never be the same because of Jack and I. He's traumatized for life. Hopefully, he'll be able to live a long and healthy life after dealing with Daryl and Daryl here. But this really is an amazing place, and come out and see it sometime. We'll be right back. Jack, we are back for another segment. We saved the manatees.
This is the noisiest place around.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's great. This is a wonderful place. And we have with us now somebody who's going to tell us a little bit about the macaws. Her name is Melinda Mendolusky, and she is the Lowry Park Zoo Animal Ambassador, right?
Yes.
That's a heck of a title.
It is a title. It's quite the title. But, you know, we do a lot of different things within the zoo, and one of our newest experiences is the macaw flyover. So what that is a free flight experience, and the birds, they will be released from kennels, and they fly out throughout our manatee fountain, which is at the front gate, and they do a big circle, loop-de-loop flight, and they fly right among the visitors. And the way they get up here is they fly up and they fly back home from their own enclosure. And so they're housed way in the back of the zoo, and they fly up here. And so the whole experience, it is all interactive for guests, because the birds are flying along the same path that the guests are walking.
Wow. How do they know to do that? I mean, these sound like the smartest animals around. What keeps them from
Jack and I can't get home half the time.
I know. That makes that they don't say, hey, I'm going to take off here. I'm on my own now.
Yeah, you know, it is amazing. The birds are very smart, and it did take a long time to train the behavior, though. From the time we got the birds as nestlings until we trained them all the way through and they were doing the full behavior, it was about a year.
Wow.
And so we spent a lot of time on it. It was 4 to 5 hours a day, and we did this behavior, and it has turned into a magnificent experience for guests. They love it.
And I guess life is so good for them here, they wouldn't even think about doing anything but
they don't
going through the regular routine.
They're part of a flock here at the zoo, and so, you know, they consider us to be part of their flock, and they stick around.
My wife's been trying to train me for 13 years, and it just...
not working.
It's not working at all, Jack.
What do you think? You want to let them out?
Well, how long do they live? Tell us a little bit more about the macaws.
Oh, a little more about the macaws. Okay. Well, macaws can live a long time. You're looking at anywhere from 60 to 80 years. I mean, they have a very long lifespan.
Wow.
Yeah, they do. They're around for a very long time. They are, yeah, and so it's definitely something to consider whenever for people are considering parrots as pets, because macaws are around for usually longer than their owners.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, an adult owner gets one of these things,
Yes.
will probably outlive them.
Yeah, most likely.
What do they eat? Vegetables and fruits?
Yes, we give them parrot pellets and fruits and nuts and all kinds of things, vegetables. In the wild, they're going to be foraging on all those types of things out there, so fruits that they would find in the rainforest, nuts. And some of these macaws can crack open some of the hardest shelled nuts out there. They're
Including our
really
fingers,
built.
right? Do they bite?
If you're not careful, you know, our kind of motto here is anything with a mouth could bite.
Yeah.
And so we work really hard on having positive relationships with the birds so that they don't want to do that. And so we're very lucky that we have really good, strong bonds and relationships with them, and so they're really good with
I've
us.
heard of people that had macaws as pets before, and I didn't realize they were this loud. And
They are very loud.
So I'm guessing
yeah,
all
they're
day
very
long
loud
if
and
you've got
very
them like
demanding. You consider what they do in the wild and think about their natural history. They live in the rainforest. They're going to be calling out to each other, so those vocalizations are meant to go for, you know, miles and miles. They can hear each other, and they have different alarm calls. It's how they communicate. So if they sense danger, they will scream even louder.
Wow.
Because it's an alarm call, because they want to let the rest of their flock know, hey, you better watch out, something's out here. And then there's just a lot of chatter. I mean, that's how they communicate. They chatter with each other. So
Well, let's, I'm going to bring some friends over here to help us.
come on, guys.
Come here. Come here.
Come on, guys.
Come over here.
We're going to watch the
Now
fly bird.
you're going to help Miss Melinda, and you're going to let the birds out, right? And one of those birds may bring you back your tooth. What do you think?
We're going to count down from 10, okay? You ready?
All right, everyone count.
All right, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look up.
Wow, that is
That's pretty
impressive.
amazing. Look,
They're
look,
going
look.
to come around this way.
Here they come. Watch out, one of them's going to take you away. Here they come. Very cool. Well, Melinda, thanks for joining us on the Mayor's Hour.
Of course, thank you for having us. I hope everybody enjoyed the macaws.
We did.
Impressive. That is impressive.
Thank you, thank you.
We'll be right back. We're going to go see an elephant and do some elephant training. And Melinda, thank you very much. It was great.
You're very welcome.
Stay with us.
Thanks.
Jack, we're back with the big dogs now.
Getting bigger every place.
Yeah. I don't think that those things are going to be eaten out of that cup that we had with those
I
birds.
think so.
We're here with Chris Massaro, who's the Animal Operations Manager for Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo. And as you'll see in a moment, we have some elephants over here. A big one and a little baby one that was just born. Chris?
Yep, December 23rd.
Wow.
So
Brand
just
new.
a couple months now.
And what's the baby's name?
Her Her name is Mpumi.
Mpumi, and
That
it's a
comes from
girl.
it's a little girl. It comes from the Siswati word, which means a success or achievement, which sort of came right in line with our program because this was certainly a big achievement for our program here.
Given that thing is 3 months old, about what size is it at birth?
So she was probably just right around 200 pounds at birth. Now at 2 months, she's bordering around 300 pounds.
And how much does the big one weigh?
Mom is actually the smallest adult in our herd. She's 6,300 pounds, but Dad is 9,300 pounds, and that guy still has a lot of growing to do.
Wow.
Now, is this an African or Asian, or what kind of elephant is this?
Now, these guys are African elephants, and some of the distinctive differences, just by looking at them, you can tell is the Africans have the nice big ears, and they actually, if you look at the shape of the ear, resembles the continent of Africa. Asians have much larger heads and smaller ears. If you look at the tip of their trunk, what we call the finger, how they grab hold of stuff, Africans have what we call 2 fingers, one on the top and the bottom, where Asians just have 1.
Really? With just one, so they just have to kind of scoop when they eat and things like that, and they are vegetarians.
Tell us about the breeding program that we have here. Now, these elephants came from Africa, right? They were going to be put down in a game reserve or something?
Yeah, but a lot of the reserves in Africa, because elephants are what we call inefficient digesters, so they consume a lot of food to make sure they maintain the nutritional quality they need for these guys, so they can be very destructive to the environment. So a lot of these reserves get to a point where there are just so many elephants on the reserve that become very destructive and actually can put other animals on the reserve in jeopardy. So what we did was pair up with some other zoos here
He's getting
in
a
the States.
Wow.
Yeah, in the States, and imported a total of 11 elephants, saved them from the cull, and we received 4 of those.
And just so folks know, the cull means they would have been put down. They would have been killed.
Right.
And I noticed that this one has pretty shortened tusks, and I've read so much about ivory poachers, and they kill the elephants just to get the tusks, and for that reason they aren't quite endangered yet, but there is a danger.
Right, we're looking at probably, with African elephants, you're looking at around 300 to 400,000 African elephants left, but there were millions just back in the 80s.
Wow.
So we're looking at staggering numbers of around 30,000 elephants that were poached just this last year. So the numbers are out of control. The ivory industry is obviously still a major problem.
And the meat on them isn't used for food or anything like that.
You do have, some issues with bush meat, but these guys are typically poached for their ivory. I mean, you'll see entire elephants, the entire animal just laid out to waste with just the ivory removed.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And what does the little one eat? I don't see him eating the lettuce or the carrots or anything.
No. Right now she's just exclusively nursing and
still.
she'll do that for the good first 4 months.
Look at that.
That's a big elephant.
That is.
At about 4 or
And he's
5
a
months,
small
she'll
one.
start eating some solid foods, and we'll start doing a more formal training program like we're doing with Mom right here. But right now, everything we're doing with her is really just building the relationship, making sure. First step, of course, was make sure Mom was comfortable with us around the calf. We want to make sure she was fine with it. And then it was getting the calf comfortable, just interacting. And then we can start sort of this training program we have here. And if you check out our training program, is rather unique. It's all focused on positive reinforcement. And what that means is we just really focus on the good stuff. If they do something incorrect or something we don't ask for, we do what we call an LRS. It's a least reinforcing stimulus. Basically, just ignore it. It's a 3-second neutral response, and then we step back up.
No timeout.
We'll sometimes use a timeout if we have other issues, but they never hear the word no. They're never corrected. So.
And they're aware of what you're saying to them? I mean, they're aware what no means if you said it?
Again, if we said it, again, we don't use no, but we have a bunch of other what we call behaviors, things we ask for them. It's all based on husbandry, taking care of these animals, making sure their feet look good, their eyes, ears, nose, mouth, all that sort of stuff. And it's a combination of what we call just the asking for the behaviors, the verbal, and the SDs, which is a actual emotion Mike will make, and he'll sort of show you what he means. So he'll ask for something, and he does a sign with it. So he could actually stand up there, and he can either ask for the turn for Mbali, or just do that, and she would go with it, and we paired the two together.
Very smart, and having her. Why does she keep putting her leg up there, her foot up there, her hoof, or whatever?
Sure. These guys actually, they're not hoofed animals. They are feet, and they do have toenails.
I told you it was a manicure.
Yeah, absolutely, is a manicure.
Pedicure, whatever.
You were joking.
No.
So, around 90% of the problems elephants can have are related to the feet. So it's very important that we're able to get them to offer their feet to us, make sure they're clean, make sure the pads look good, make sure the nails look good. You can imagine trying to carry all that weight, that 6,300 pounds that Mbali's carrying. You want to make sure definitely her feet are in good shape.
And what is your background and Mike's background?
So Mike here, who's doing the training, he's got a pretty good background in marine mammal training. So a lot of what he's doing, the type of training we do here was originated in the marine mammal industry, so people working with dolphins and whales and all that. My background is more, actually I started in college, was more focused on primates. So primate behavior ecology, social structure, which ended up coming here 10 years later after being here at Lowry Park Zoo. I work with several different mammal species, and that application works across the board with all the different animals.
Chris, given your expertise, I want to ask you about a controversy that seems to be out there with circuses, which all have elephants. That's a staple as far as circuses are concerned, and invariably wherever Ringling Brothers goes, they have protesters that say, and particularly on behalf of the elephants, say they're not treated properly and everything. What is your take on that? Are they treated? Obviously not as well as these, because these don't have to do anything like that, but...
Obviously our focus is really on our program here at the zoo, and we need to make sure what we're doing is we're taking care of the best possible way and focusing on the welfare of the animals here at the zoo. So our program is based on the physical and mental wellness of the animals. That's why you don't see any correcting, you don't see what is often used, what they call a guide or a hook.
Yeah, the stick.
We don't use any of that here. We don't have any on grounds. Everything is focused on positive reinforcement, and it's focused on the idea is that we have 100% voluntary participation by the elephants. So as you see, there's nothing keeping Mbali from walking away. If she wants to walk away, she doesn't want to participate, she can do that.
Well, do people get to come out here? I mean, it looks like it's a little secluded out here. Do people get to come out here and look at these animals? Because these are fascinating.
Sure, absolutely. We do obviously have the exhibit up front, and that's right now is just exhibited for the guests to come and view. These sessions back here that we do are often for special tours that come back. Our hopes are that we'll eventually have what we call a training wall that we can put up in front of the exhibit, and we can do these same demonstrations for the general public coming through the gate.
That's great.
The other thing that I've got to ask you about, having watched old Tarzan movies back in the day, but they used to have the elephant burial grounds and things like that, and they had these incredible memories, and they knew how to get to these burial grounds and things like that. Is all of that fiction, or are
when
they
you think
really,
about,
do they really have great memories?
Sure.
You have a memory like
Absolutely.
an elephant.
So in the wild, herds are based on maternally lined. So they've got mothers, grandmothers, sisters, daughters. That's the focus of the group, and there's always a matriarch. And a true matriarch is a true leader. And that's the animal that is absolutely going to lead all the animals to food, water, know exactly where they need to go. So that's all learned behavior. When that animal gets old, she'll pass it on to the next generation. Those animals will be able to do what they need to do. But if not for that leader and that matriarch leading the group, these animals could be lost. So the matriarch is extremely important to a herd, and that memory, that experience, is absolutely detrimental.
Well, and one other thing, going back to these old movies, and an old movie called, I think it was
You watched
Elephant
a lot of
Walker.
TV
I
as a
watched a
kid.
lot of old movies. Well, they weren't old then when I was watching them. But the elephant stampedes that we heard about in the jungle and have seen in movies and things like that, what causes that? I mean, because that has to be a danger to all living things in their way.
Well, I mean, just take a look at the size of these animals. You figure if they get moving, certainly you don't want to be in the way.
In a group.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem.
But a lot of the more stampedes you start thinking of, you're thinking of hoofstock like zebra and wildebeest and all that sort of stuff. These guys you'll encounter, they do a lot of bluff charges. They see a rider, like maybe a safari tour approaching, so where the ears will come out, the head will come up, and what they want to look, they're already really big, but they want to make sure they look even bigger to sort of intimidate you and sort of warn you, threaten you, say, this is my area, get away. But
do they have predators in the wild in Africa and in Asia?
The only real
Aside from
predator,
man.
man's the really only predator they have to worry about. Obviously, young calves like this, they've got to worry about. But if you ever look at a herd again, a good maternally lined herd, is all those cows in the group. They surround those calves. They protect them, and they all work together to protect the offspring.
One other quick thing, and that is how old will they? How long will they live? And just
Sure, these guys actually have a special set of teeth, and they'll lose about 6 sets of teeth in their lifetime. The last set they lose around in their 60s. So typically, if an elephant's going to die of natural causes, it often is due to malnutrition. So they'll lose that last set of teeth. They'll no longer be able to process the leaves, branches, all the stuff they would eat in the wild.
Wow.
So
That's like you and
terrible
I
way
are
to
going to
go.
end up.
No teeth.
No teeth. Well, Chris, we appreciate it. This is a great segment. That is the cutest little calf I've seen.
It is.
We're going to go to video, and then Jack and I will be back to close it out.
The Frog Listening Network is a simple program, really. Here at the zoo, we have this physical display. So guests that enter this building here, the Discovery Center, in our Florida area of the park, they can press these buttons here along this display. That will play the audio call of the frog or toad. So then they can recognize the sounds that they've been hearing in their backyard. They've been hearing chirping or croaking, and they think, oh, maybe it's an insect, maybe it's a bird. Now they know it's a frog, it's a toad. Some of these animals don't sound like a typical frog, so it's a great way for people to learn what the sounds are in their own backyards. They can also see what the animals look like. It's an interactive display, and it's great for education, especially when we want to show animals like this guy right here. This is a southern toad. Southern toad is a native toad species here, but unfortunately he's kind of running into some competition because he's not the only toad in Tampa anymore. For a long time now, we've had the marine toad or cane toad that also lives here, but he's not native. He's an invasive species, and he's kind of outcompeting this native guy, partly because they get a little bit bigger, but also because they have big glands on the back of their neck that produce a pretty toxic poison. The only 3 invasive species are the marine toad, which we have on display in the Frog Listening Network, as well as the Cuban tree frog. Those 2 are the most prolific and problematic invasive species. There is also greenhouse frogs. There's a tiny little species that you can find hopping around in your garden. Those are the 3 invasive species to Florida. The rest, leopard frogs, gopher frogs, spadefoot toads, bullfrogs, things like that, they're native to Florida, and they're actually doing pretty well. A frog's call, the call that you'll hear when we press buttons, I'll give you an example here. This is a southern leopard frog. Hear that chuckling sound? Doesn't sound like a ribbit that you may hear when you're watching TV and you see a frog. That's their way of calling, a male calling to females to say, this is my spot, this is my territory. It also lets the female know how powerful he is as a genetic specimen. So he's got a big, strong call. The female is attracted to that, and he'll be more likely to reproduce and pass on the genes for his big, strong call. So that's the purpose of the calling. The reason that they sound so different, there's a lot of noises out in nature. If every frog sounded the same, then when a leopard frog called, they may attract a southern toad. And then they'd match up and go, we're 2 different species, we can't, what are you doing here, you know? Insects and birds also do the same thing, they call to attract mates. So there's a very narrow bandwidth that's open, and when there is an opening, a frog or a insect or something will fill that gap. So you kind of get the whole spectrum of sound is covered by something. And at nighttime, especially after a nice rainstorm, you'll hear a whole chorus of frogs, toads, bugs, birds, things, all calling really for the same purpose, to try to say, ladies, this is my spot, it's a good spot, and I'm a strong, fit male, so let's meet up. Amphibians need water, and part of this display here at the Frog Listening Network, it's not just about hearing the frog calls, it's also about learning about the watershed. We did partner with the Tampa Estuary Group, who helped fund a lot of this, as well as the Hillsborough River Watershed Alliance, 2 groups that have been instrumental in helping us set up this project in the first place, so I want to thank them. But also, that watershed, that holds a lot of water, and that's a lot of great habitat for frogs to breed and reproduce and live. And so that's why you see a lot of frogs here in Tampa. It's wet, it's marshy. You get further north, you got green swamp. So it's just great climate, great habitat. It's warm. They're a great bioindicator. When you have an area that normally has frogs, all of a sudden the frogs are gone. It's not a good sign. That means something's wrong, and specifically, most likely, something's wrong with your water supply. Frogs are very sensitive. Thin skin, they lay gelatinous eggs inside the water. So if they're not surviving, that means there's something wrong with the water. And that translates to us as humans, it translates to mammals and birds. They're better able at dealing with pollution and problems in their water supply, but it's kind of a canary in the coal mine, if you will. If you see frogs and toads around, it means you've got really healthy water, and that makes you feel good. It's nice to know that your water is being properly cared for. And here in Tampa, there's very little pollution that affects the frogs. It's a really a great example of the municipalities working fantastically, keeping the water clean, and a lot of frogs in Tampa. That's a good thing. This is the second expansion of the Frog Listing Network. We unveiled this a few months ago, so it's nice to have something new here to show off to the public. So the idea of this exhibit, on the right here you have the bullfrog. It's a very iconic species, the largest species of native frog to Florida. So we wanted to bring that animal into the network so they can hear that iconic call. And that is the typical frog call that you hear, that ribbit, strong call. But we contrasted that with a river system, watershed system that has garbage and trash and things like that in it. That's the problem. It runs off from parking lots and things like that. And it can be very cluttersome, but also addressing fertilizer use, pet waste is a big problem. A lot of these issues that affect our water supply in the Hillsborough River watershed, that's the general kind of message here. Green is good. Keep your trash and garbage and things in a landfill and in a dumpster where it belongs, and that helps the amphibians out, keeps their water nice and clean for them. So.
Another great show.
Oh, yeah, this is a phenomenal asset for the city. And again, repeating that Parent Magazine calls it the best zoo in the entire United States, better than the famed Chicago Zoo, Lincoln Park Zoo, better than San Diego, all of the others from a kid's standpoint. And that's what zoos are all about for kids, and the most attended in the entire Southeast. And that includes Miami and Jacksonville and Atlanta and all of these cities. I mean,
well, when you walk around and see all these kids that are here today and you see their eyes just light up when they see the exhibits and the animals and you see how much fun they're having, I mean, we all revert to being a child again when we come to some place like this.
And it's like our airport. It's a great zoo that it keeps getting better all the time, like Tampa International Airport. But it's just an awesome thing. But the town keeps getting better. So many things have happened since the last time we got together.
We're busy, Jack.
I know you're very, very busy. I love all of the talk about the new developments and everything, and of course the talk now about the new high-rise. It's going to be right down on the river, down next to the Straz. And that's going to be a huge addition to downtown. I mean, along with the Element, and I can't name them all now.
Sky Point.
And the others.
It's downtown really has come alive. I mean, there is more demand for residential units than there is supply. That new tower will be very, very complimentary to the Straz Center. Provide a great linkage between the Riverwalk leading directly into the Straz Performing Arts Center. It will solve some of the parking issues that they have. It will solve some of the issues of the traffic. I mean, that is a really dysfunctional intersection down there by the Straz.
It is that.
So we're going to straighten that out. We're going to give them more ability to valet park We broke ground on the federal courthouse this week.
That's going to be spectacular. I guess you'd call it a boutique hotel, but
120 rooms. It's going to be a really neat addition.
Yeah, this is the old federal courthouse. I've forgotten when, in the early 1900s, but that was designed by the guy that designed the Treasury Building, which is the building right next to the White House.
Yes.
You're looking at the White House. Just to the left of it is the Treasury Building. The same guy did that courthouse.
It's the most historically significant structure in downtown Tampa, and to think that it will now come alive and be put back on the tax rolls at no cost to the city. The same day, we broke ground on another 400 units right at the Crescent project on Bayshore.
Yeah.
So it's the town really is exciting. The Aloft Hotel at the corner of Ashley and Kennedy on the waterfront. That building will be renovated into to another hotel.
And I've stayed in those Aloft hotels in Milwaukee, and I think they have one in Tallahassee,
They have one in Tallahassee,
and a couple of others, and those are good hotels. That's going to be a great addition there. And it's going to be better than those two because of the view. You're going to be right there on the river.
Right on the Riverwalk.
People that are going to be paying a little extra, I guess, to be out on the river to get that river view and everything. But and the other thing that I love that's happened is the Wi-Fi-ing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's to think that we didn't even have Wi-Fi at City Hall is just astounding to me, but we do now. And, along with 7 other locations in the city, and eventually what I'd like to do is make sure that all of our parks downtown are Wi-Fi accessible because, if we're going to attract those young kids, the best and the brightest, they want to sit out, and they may not sit behind a desk. They may be writing code from their apartment, and for them to be able to go down and sit in Curtis Dixon Park or walk along the waterfront with their laptops and work really is an advantage for us. So we're going to keep pushing to try and get that done.
And one other quick thing, kind of a negative, we were left off a list of, I think, 35 cities to make applications for the Olympics for 2024. But there's an easy reason for that anybody can see, and that's because we lack rapid transit, mass transit, rail transit, because all of the other 35 cities have it.
They do. And plus, we're exhausted from the RNC.
So
I am not unhappy that we were not invited to bid on the Olympics because,
like Ed Taranchik said, it's a waste of time and money.
Well, it's as I was going through the RNC, I was thinking to myself about that Olympic bid a decade ago, and there was no way that we could have handled that.
Oh, not even close.
So
not even close.
We're not even going down that road. Thanks, Jack, as always. Thank you to our 2 new friends there.
Oh, yes.
We're excited about Lowry Park Zoo. Lowry Park Zoo always needs your support. So if you'd like to have an impact on the lives of these great creatures or on the quality of life in this community, make a donation. We've had a lot of very, very generous citizens that have sponsored things here at the Lowry Park Zoo. You too can get your name up on one of these buildings. So get that checkbook out. Lots of zeros or a lot of little ones. And let's continue to make this the great facility that it is.
Maybe you can get an ad on the side of an elephant.
Yeah, we're willing. It's negotiable. We'll see you next time, and take care.